Do we have to wake up Al, or is he here? No, he's not here yet. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
You are in your house? You are at home?
I'm at home.
And you're not in your trailer or camper?
So I am on my daughter's Chromebook because my computer that I keep at home that has all my files on it has decided that it no longer likes my password. So I can't get in
Oh my.
or access anything right now. So joys of technology.
1, 2, 3 is not working for you anymore?
Nope. 1, 2, 3 is not working. Everything that I have used in the last 3 days is just decided that it doesn't want to work in any way, shape, or form.
Is it an Apple?
Well, try ABC.
I just sent Al the link again so that he could come on too.
I finally figured out how to take the link off the agenda. You have to hit Control and click, and then it will go to the link. It's only taken me a few years.
Did you get email?
Email is easy, but the agenda always created a problem for me. I couldn't use the link from the agenda itself. I think I figured it out. Okay, today is the 20th.
I had the same problem, Neil, except I did something very unusual. I followed the directions when you hover over it. It says Control click.
Right, that's what I just said. Hit Control and click. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, as I said, it took me a couple of years. This first night, I was able to figure that out. This could be a reasonably short meeting if we.
You just jinxed us.
Yeah. Supposed to get cold around here for the next few days. Every time I turn around, the oil truck is at my house. It's just, starting to get a little concerned.
You got to get more tanks so he doesn't have to use the road. You're ruining our road.
I've got 500 gallons, two 250s.
You need 1,000 gallons. Okay, looks like Al's here.
All right.
Without mute. His lips are moving, but we don't hear him.
That's a good sign.
Is it good that his lips are moving, or is it a good sign that we can't hear him?
Well, one of us should probably call him and tell him to hit the mute button. The unmute button.
Alk, if you can hear us, you're on mute.
He has to find the icon that says mute and click it with his mouse.
Right now.
There we are.
There you go. You found it.
No, I clicked myself off the screen somehow now.
Okay.
Good grief.
We can see you.
We're luckier than you are, Al. We can see you.
Well, I can't see me at all. So, can I ask someone to read the governor's decree? Because I've misplaced mine in the panic of doing the maple syrup season here.
That reminds me, Al, I want to order another container of maple syrup.
I'll take on that, Al.
You want to read it? Go ahead.
An executive order from the governor of Massachusetts relieves public bodies from requirements in the open meeting law that meetings be conducted in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public, provided that the public body makes provisions to ensure public access to the deliberations through telephone, internet, or satellite-enabled audio or video conferencing or any other technology that enables the public to clearly follow the proceedings of the public body in real time. In addition, all members of the public body may participate in a meeting remotely. The open meeting law's requirements that a quorum of the body and the chair be physically present at the meeting location is suspended. All other provisions of the open meeting law, such as requirements regarding posting notices of meetings and creating and maintaining accurate meeting minutes, as well as limited enumerated purposes for holding a public session, remain in effect. We meet those requirements, so let's open the meeting.
Okay, I got myself back somehow. All right, what is the first item on our agenda? Whoops, I just disappeared again.
Balderdash continuation of special permit amendment.
Boy, I'm having more trouble with this thing. Holy smokes. Is everyone still hearing me?
Yeah, we hear you. I think to even discuss Balderdash, we have to open the public hearing again. Is that correct, Daniel?
Yes. You
All
have to
right,
open
well,
the continuation of the public hearing.
I'll move that we reopen the public hearing on Balderdash.
I'll second that.
In favor.
All right, aye. I believe our town council has some further information on this topic.
Yes, thank you. Elizabeth Goodman, for those who don't know me. I have been in discussions with Alex Glover, who is representing Christian Hansen. We have asked for feedback from the petitioner through his attorney, and we received some feedback this afternoon, but only a few hours before this meeting. And in reading their proposals, there are still some legal questions as well as factual questions about what they're proposing and what the town would like to propose. So we agreed that there wasn't sufficient time before this meeting to address those concerns that they raised. And so I called Alex Glover back and asked if she would agree, her client would agree, and she was in agreement. And I think that's why I don't see either of them attending this hearing, that it would just be continued. I set a date to actually discuss our concerns with Ms. Glover. So I'm really asking the select board to agree to continue this. I'm not trying to be, it's not through lack of diligence by town council. Let me just put that out there.
Well, I'll second that your proposal.
All right, well,
Oh,
I would like to have a little bit of discussion. I'm extremely disappointed that 2 weeks was not sufficient time for you guys to agree on things that already seem to be agreed upon. But if you say you need more time, you need more time. But the issues associated with this particular thing seem to be sound related. And the issues, as I understand, that you can't come to an agreement on are with by right issues, and that should be resolved as a separate matter. So I encourage the two attorneys to get together, finish that discussion, come to an agreement, and get to a point where we can approve this.
Thank you. Yes, I will say, I feel that we have made progress.
Come on. That's.
So we should be able to resolve it. I agree.
hold on.
Okay.
Were you saying something, Danielle?
I just wanted to note that Christian came on. I don't know if you guys saw that. He is in attendance, just so you know.
Hi, Kristen.
Hello.
So that's all the discussion I wanted to have on that.
Thank you, Roger.
For the board and maybe Beth as well, I'd like to just comment that I heard what Roger was saying, and I, honestly, in my mind, I feel like this is a simple discussion. There's certainly some nuances to it, but we're trying to get a permit to do farm function activities, not to redraft zoning bylaws. So what we're doing is just asking for the permit to do those activities, and separately, and maybe importantly, there's also concern about sound and noise. And so we are trying to get that into the permit as well for the farm function events, and also go one step farther and say, even though background music is not a farm function event, we are willing to further curtail and help the situation. So, in my mind, I'm thinking this is something I think everybody's agreeing on everything, which is a little frustrating, but now we're trying to understand zoning bylaws, which I did not think is what this permit is all about.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They're two different things. And it seems like we are in agreement, and yet we're not going forward. And
Well, let me point out, let's not put the burden on the attorneys. This is more complicated than Christian is referring to. And there are some issues that I think with some more drafting and discussion, but ultimately the decisions will have to be made by our board and by Christian. And I'm confident we can have the issues, if not resolved, but ready for final discussion at the next meeting.
well, let's just do that then. And all I'm saying is, let's not wait until 2 hours before the meeting to have something to look at.
Well, that's what happened today. I can tell you that.
I would recommend that we be given at least 3 days prior to the meeting to have something to review.
I agree with that. So let's ask both attorneys to finish their work in enough time so that the board can review the document 3 days in advance of the meeting. We're not looking at it an hour before the meeting, which would have been the case today. So that's why I think the 2-week extension of the public hearing hopefully is the last extension that will be needed.
And Roger, I'm taking note, and I'll tell Alex that you want a draft at least 3 days before the next scheduled hearing date.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable request. All right, so I'll move to continue.
Send to the selectmen directly.
Well, we'll go through our attorney.
Well, I mean, I
Okay.
can send it to Danielle and it'll get to you. Yeah.
Fine.
All right, so I'll move that we continue the public hearing to our next scheduled board meeting, which I believe is February 10.
Is there time for public comment now about the balderdash noise issue?
No.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded.
Well, we're going to extend we're continuing the public hearing. I think we can, want public comment, we can have that after we vote on this.
You mean at the next meeting?
No, you can, you're here, you're with us. If you want to say something after we do what we're about to do, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
All in favor of postponing?
Aye.
Continuing the public hearing.
Continuing the public hearing until future.
Aye.
Aye, Hanson, aye.
Wilson, aye. Okay.
The next item is
Question?
Perry's Peak Hollow Fields parking.
We got a question from the public.
Will we have an opportunity to view the, what the parties have agreed to prior to the hearing? So that we can look at it and perhaps have a coherent comment rather than just hearing it at the hearing?
I think that's a reasonable request. Any of those that want comment, just provide your email address to Danielle. And when she sends it to us, she can send it to you guys as well. Is that okay, Danielle?
Yep.
Okay, done. Alex? Evelyn?
Miles Garfinkel here, 293 Shore Road. As you can see, myself and some of my neighbors are here with the continuing concern of future noise. And we look forward to reading the document that will be prepared. We will provide Danielle with our email. Thank you.
Okay. The next item is Perry's Peak Mellow Fields Parking area request.
Hey, Roger. Perry Peak is no longer on the agenda. They requested to be removed. They have withdrawn application.
You were kind of choppy there, Danielle. Did you say they removed their application?
No, they withdrew it.
They
They withdrew
withdrew
it?
their application and requested to be removed from the agenda.
Okay, that's
Can you
easy.
hear me better now?
Yep, I'm on number 3 now. On the-
Number 3 is you.
I'm having a great deal of trouble signing on with my computer, so I'm gonna have to sign in by phone.
Al, you want to call me and I can put you on speaker that way?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Al, we can hear you and see you. I don't know what the problem is.
I don't know, my computer's really acting up. I can't even get on this thing at all, so phone is the best way right now.
I can only tell you, you are on and we do see you and we hear you.
But my computer shows nothing but a screen with a lot of words on it, nothing to do.
All right, whatever.
I think we're on agenda item 3,
Yes, that's you, Roger.
which is a Richmond Cemetery burial request by the Manzolinis. We have purchased a burial plot and we went through the proper procedure and filled out the application, and we're requesting burial of our children who are non-residents currently. They had been residents for the first 16 years of their life, but they're out of town now. And I'm requesting that they be allowed to be buried in the family plot. So that would be James Manzolini and Rebecca Chiramonti. That's our son and daughter. And it requires the approval of the Board of Selectmen, from which I'll recuse myself.
Well, I would have to say that since they've been residents of the town for 17 years, they certainly qualify for the 10-year minimum. So I recommend that we approve this application.
All right, let's assume you're making the motion. I'll second.
Okay, both of us are in favor?
Pilson, aye.
Hanson, aye.
All right, Manzolini abstains.
Recused.
Done business.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll die in peace now.
Okay, green burial is the next item on the agenda.
Okay, so I've had a couple of conversations with Steve. We have a proposal that we'd like to run by you. I had it typed up, but I cannot access that right now, so I'm going to kind of go by memory here. What we had wanted to do is just put in the fees that if it's a green burial, we're going to keep all the fees the same, but we're going to add an additional $200 fee for the settling amount because it's going to cost more. And then we'll switch the cemetery regulations a little bit so that we say we do allow green burials. The green burials have to be in compliance with the Mass General Law. Give a link to them so they can see it. Make sure they get all the proper burial permits, and then have residents work through a nursing home. I mean, not a nursing home, a funeral home, sorry. Because the person who does our burials has said that as long as there is some sort of box that the person comes in, then they will help lower them into the ground. But if the person does not want to have any kind of box and only wants to be just in the cloth, they will not lower the body. So the families will have to be responsible for getting the body in the ground in those circumstances. And we want them to know that ahead of time. So we're going to make sure that that is clear and that the funeral homes understand that and that people run through the funeral homes. And while we amend those, we are also would like to put wording in there about the winter burials, that it's the responsibility of the resident to have the driveways cleared out to be able to do a burial in the winter. If
Okay.
you're okay with all that, I can send you guys a draft so we can try to approve it for next one.
That's exactly what I would propose to do, is to have the rules and fees updated for us to approve as soon as reasonable.
Yeah, Daniel, just a quick question, Danielle. Are our rules now consistent with local rules at other neighboring towns?
Well, every town is different as to what they allow and what they don't allow. When it comes to green burials, there's so many different variables that could happen or that people could choose. So instead of trying to put guidelines on each one, we're just asking them to follow the state guidelines, get all the current burial permits, and work through I keep saying that, I'm sorry, the funeral home, so that they are absolutely 100% aware of what the town needs to have done.
The only reason first of all, I don't know how, I guess you can be buried without working through a funeral home, but I'm not quite sure how that would happen. But that does, if other burials are not required to go through funeral homes, that could add a considerable extra expense on green burial that we don't require for a casket burial. That's really my question.
Well,
I think they do.
Actually, as it turns out, we do require people to work through a funeral home now. I'm not sure if that's clearly stated in our regulations, but it's well understood by the cemetery superintendent. And we have never run into a situation where somebody said, I want to dig the hole and plop them in myself. It's always been done through a funeral home. And I think to put that in our rules and regulations is appropriate. And I don't think it's be burdensome to anybody.
No, my point is this: if it's in our regulations for green burials, but not with respect to other burials, I'd be concerned. But if it's uniform, then I'm fine.
The regulations are for burials, and it just
Yes.
allows green burials.
Okay.
We're just going to have one set of regulations. Can you hear
We're
me?
not going to discriminate the state laws and all that stuff. It won't be, it's not discriminatory in that way.
Okay, I just wanted to check. I understand.
It's just
So
an
the
ad.
plan- Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay,
So I
so-
look forward to the amended rules.
Okay, because we were just going to keep it a uniform set of rules and just say that we allow burials, not have a whole set of extra guidelines for them.
Right.
Good. Next item.
So next on the agenda is the discussion regarding the quiet signs for town properties. So Roger has requested that we order some signs to put up at different locations around town.
No. Roger requested that we put a proposal before the select
Yes.
board. for
Yes, I'm sorry. I
Discussion.
put a discussion before. So I originally was hoping to have two different types of signs drawn up. We have asked the sign company to give us those. They don't have them yet. They said probably tomorrow, which doesn't help, but we can have those for the next meeting so you can look at them. But the discussion tonight was if you wanted to go ahead with that.
And what I was suggesting is that we have and this is just for discussion right now, that we have a town sign that says something like, quiet, please. per the request of the town of Richmond, refrain from making noise while visiting this property. And that would be an appropriate sign, in my opinion, as much as I hate signs, to put at the boat ramp, hollow fields, and perhaps other points, businesses, if they would be willing to accept that.
Allison Cole has a question.
Hi, Allison Cole, 28 Spruce Road. Al, you have mentioned before that if you put signs up, there's no way to enforce it. So I'm wondering, why spend the time and effort to put signs up if there's no way to make sure that the signs are actually doing something?
That's one of the reasons I'm against signs. And other than the fact that they're, generally ugly. However, I was just opening this up for discussion because some people actually think that they're effective. And, it's just open for discussion. And if the board chooses not to do that, and the public supports it, we not do it, I have no issue with that. But I did want to bring that up as a possibility, because there have been some neighborhoods that have been complaining about noise. And I thought perhaps this might be a way to help address some of that.
I'm not opposed to the signs, but I think if you put them up, you should enforce them.
Well, you must feel the same way about speed limit signs too, and we have no means of enforcing those either.
Let me clarify that. The speed limit signs in yellow are requests or actually warnings to drivers. They're not enforceable in the sense that you won't get a ticket if you don't slow down where the curve is a curve and it says 30 miles an hour in yellow. But the sign is there as a warning and as a request to slow down. That's what these signs would be as well. Not every sign is enforceable, but some are simply requests to motorists or citizens to observe in this case a quiet zone. So I don't have any objection to putting the sign up, and I'm not at all concerned that we can't enforce it. But it is a friendly neighborly request to limit noise, and I see no downside to putting the signs up.
All these incoming roads we have welcome to Richmond signs on them. Perhaps it would be a good place to tack on this sign you're proposing.
Well, I think they should be more directed at specific areas where we have had noise situations. I think putting up signs with script on them or print in an area like coming up on Lenox Road, people will slow down to try to read the sign. We don't want that. So I think if they go up in a couple of areas, 2, 3, 4 areas where we have had noise complaints, there's no downside to it, and it's a request.
Leslie Breeding has her hand raised.
Hello, everybody. Leslie Breeding here from Richmond Shores. I've been in, can you hear me okay?
We hear you, Leslie.
Thank you. I've been in towns where a business has been too loud and the community board has asked for signs to be put up. And after a while, if the signs weren't effective, then the solution was to require the business to hire someone to remind folks of the request by the business that they lower the noise. And that's been effective, that the business itself hire a monitor who's there and enforcing the sign.
Well, my thinking is this particular sign is not necessarily going to go in a commercial location. It's going to go in at least the two areas where we have had noise complaints, at the boat ramp and at Hollow Fields. And if there are other locations on town property, I think we can put those signs up. Or property, in the case of Hollow Fields, owned by a nonprofit. Do you need a resolution, Roger, or?
I just, if, is this something that we as a board want to move forward with, to look at, you know, a particular sign wording or whatever?
I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with it.
I can come back next week next meeting, excuse me, with 2 proposals and costs, excuse me, and cost estimates for you.
Well, why don't we take that step and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Sounds good.
The next thing on the agenda is a discussion regarding, Selectmen's matters. Number 6, Selectmen's matters.
The number 6 is public comment.
Oh,
Actually, not on my copy of the agenda, but no problem. No problem.
Did I not send you the revised one with the
well,
Hollow?
that's mine just goes Selectmen's matters, but if you do, public comments, fine. Let's just do that, and then we'll do Selectmen's matters.
Do we have
Okay.
any public?
Let
Do
the
we have any
public comment.
So Holly wanted to be on under public comment. She said she's going to attend the meeting, but I don't see her on.
Mhm.
I don't see her either.
Well,
Okay.
if she pops up while we're doing Selectmen's matters, we'll hear her. Oh, does Leslie still have her hand up?
No, I think I just didn't lower it yet.
Oh, okay.
I have to lower it.
Okay.
Danielle, just a question. Are we approving the minutes of a couple of meetings here?
I have that on the agenda to approve the minutes for December 16th and January 6th.
Okay. I've reviewed the minutes. I've provided comments to our minute taker, and I believe those comments have now been included in the revised version. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 16, is that December 16 and January
6.
6.
I'll second that.
I've reviewed the revised minutes, and I'm all for approval.
All right.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as corrected?
Wilson, aye.
Yes.
Manzolini, aye.
Hanson, aye.
Next thing now is Selectmen's matters.
Does anyone have any matters?
Well, let's see. I have 1. 2. There was an article in the Eagle recently about Lennox in their collection of lodging fees and whatever. And it's been brought to my attention by a town resident. What are we doing in that area? And in the past, we haven't been doing a whole heck of a lot, to the best of my knowledge. I can't remember whether or not we even approved a tax rate for like a local tax rate for lodging and things of that nature. But I would like us to research that and have and find out what we are doing and how we're doing it and how much of a burden it is on us to do that. And whether or not we should revisit the general law sections that need to be approved for us to set a tax on lodging for Airbnbs, B&Bs, and other types of lodging, house rentals. So I don't know how we go about this, Danielle, but if you could take the lead on that and maybe have Paul inform us what we do or whatever, and just inform us and we can go forward from there.
You really don't do anything. The total amount of room tax that you got last year was $1,400.
So the other, and I don't know if that's about what we should have collected based on the rooming or not. And we should maybe take a closer look at that. And I guess this discussion is to see if the other selectmen think we should do something about it and try to be more inclusive if we're not inclusive enough.
You do not enforce Airbnbs right now.
So
There's nobody that looks for them. There's nobody that makes sure they're registered or collects taxes or anything like that.
So whomever we're collecting it from, it's not right if we're collecting it from some and not others. So we either should not collect it from anybody, or we should try to make an attempt to collect it from everybody. I mean, that should be paid. So that's the discussion. I don't want us to just accept these things from people who volunteer to do it. You know, we either act like a town that has that structure, or we don't. And I would prefer that we be one that does. And that's kind of what the discussion is. And I'd like to get the other two selectmen's input on that and see if we should, you know, if we need to modify our behavior.
Well, this is Neil. I can't disagree with Roger. If we're collecting from one or more enterprises or businesses, we know there's a B&B at the corner of Kenmore Hall. There was an inn operating at down at Hollow Field at Perry's Peak Road. Rich, I forget the name, but
In at Richmond.
Inn at Richmond, right? And we probably should have some capability of knowing, because I think our residents would expect that we would know if there's there are Airbnbs operating in Richmond. I think a regulation that requires them to pay a room tax would give us information as to what's going on in the town. I don't see it even if we get all done doing that, I'm not sure we're going to see huge increase in revenue for the town. But I think the other towns, I think all of them have such a regulation, and I think we should as well.
That's my point. We're either doing it or we're not. And if we are, we should do it equitably. And if we're not, we should just abandon it. And I would suggest that we not abandon it, but we do it totally.
I would agree with that, yes.
So why don't we just that's another little thing on the action item list, Danielle, that we can address sometime this year. I don't think it's a hot item. I don't think it's a real big revenue generator, but it's something that we should not ignore. Okay, the other issue I had was, or selectmen's matter, was trying to get information out to the townspeople on information sessions, of the fact that we're planning to, or we're going to be proposing a new town building. And one of the ways that was suggested to do that is to use reverse 911. And how we use reverse 911 is at the discretion of the selectmen. And we don't have a written policy on that, but we try to use it for emergency type of information. But we have used it for informational data in the past. And I would like to suggest that and I know you're working on a script with Danielle. And
Catherine
Wilson
Wilson.
are working on-
I do have a script, if you wanted to hear it, that I ran by Danielle and Kristen.
I'd like to hear that, yes.
Pat. Okay, so here's just a draft of a proposed script. Richmond residents, the Municipal Building Committee is presenting information on a proposed new town center building to replace our aging town hall and rented library buildings. Vote on the bond issue will be held on May 19th at the Richmond Town Meeting. Get more information on this important subject at the town website or by phoning the Richmond Library or Richmond Town Clerk. And if it were sent out during this week, which I don't think it's probably going to happen, but you could add in, the next meeting is Saturday, January 23rd at 10 a.m.
And so what I would like, I kind of like that script. It was not too verbose. It was kind of short and to the point.
And I think Neil was saying, don't put information that they have to take notes on.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
And that seemed to do it. We can get Neil's comment on that. But the first discussion is, does the board agree in notion that we allow such a message to go out on the reverse 911? I would say yes, would be my input. And I guess I would like an input from Al and Neil.
All right, my comments, and I attended that meeting, were that since the 911 reverse, the robocall doesn't repeat, we can't expect people to absorb a lot of information. So only indicating the next meeting public session is as much as I think we can convey. I do think, though, that we really shouldn't be sending out the call every couple of weeks in front of each one of the public sessions that are on Zoom. We can do it for this one, and because it's actually a look ahead to May, and perhaps do it before the May vote. But I don't think we should be sending out notes for every one of the public sessions. I see Catherine's nodding her head in agreement
I
on
would
that.
agree with that. And I think the point of this would be for people who haven't heard anything about this yet, to direct them to call the library or the town hall to find out, how do I look into this?
Right.
And that was our intent, was one before this session, and then one at about the time of the Baby Town meeting.
All right, I don't think we need a motion on it. If Al, what's your view on it?
Yeah, I was thinking about an all-town mailing at the last minute, like weeks before, so that people are aware, but I'm not sure the total cost of an all-town mailing these days.
We were thinking we might be doing a mailing too. That may be in addition to this.
Each mailing is about $750.
Say again, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Alan, each mailing is about $750. So we're trying to not do too many mailings. Obviously, we did one in December, and it's not something we can do often.
My suggestion would be just before the town meeting, like a couple weeks before, so that it's fresh in everyone's mind what's happening.
Yeah,
Right.
That's the idea, is to put one out now, just to say that the information's out there and here's where you can go get it. And then one 2 weeks before the annual town meeting.
I mean, the object of all of this would be to answer questions from residents before we get to the town meeting. So we don't have, people know which way they feel about it at the town meeting and are able to go in there and vote, and we don't have a big lengthy question and answer time for people who've never heard about this.
So,
Favor of doing it. I approve.
well, let's hear what Leslie has to say.
That's very kind of you. Thank you, Roger. I'm Leslie Breeding here again. I think one of the best ways of communicating this complex issue to everybody would be to do what town councils all over the country are doing after they've discovered Zooming during the pandemic. In Texas, in Indiana, in Colorado, and in Massachusetts, they are posting the full recording Zoom of the town council and the Board of Selectmen meeting. In that way, people can go and listen to it anytime. It enfranchises more residents than maybe were able to come and listen. And it would also solve the problem that we've reached sometimes where minutes have taken months to appear on site, or they've been missing important facts that have been brought up, or where people have contradicted things they've said from the meeting before. So the best way you can communicate is to put the Zoom meetings out there right on your website for all to see.
And
Thank you.
Leslie, thank you. We have done that. We have two recorded sessions, Zoom sessions of the presentation and the follow-up question and answer times. And they're both posted to the town's Facebook page where people can just click on that link. They don't even have to have a Facebook account to view that. We're also going to be uploading it to a YouTube web page where they can click at the town at the town website. We're concerned about reaching people who don't have a computer and who aren't, there are residents in the town who aren't online, and we'd like to, answer their questions by phone if we need to, but we'd like to reach out to as many people as we can and get everybody.
Absolutely. I would reach for every tool you have in that toolbox. And I would add to this simple one issue, Zoom accessibility, a Zoom of every single meeting that the town has that's public. Thank you.
Okay, so those are good inputs. So it sounds like we're generally in agreement to allow us to use reverse 911 for this purpose. And I would suggest that that the script that you put together, Catherine, is adequate for the first one. It's more than adequate. It's very nice for the first one.
I think Danielle is gonna check on phone numbers before this goes out, because we don't want people calling, we want to direct them of, where this call should go. And she also, I believe, was going to record it herself rather than a computer voice.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Is that right, Danielle?
That is correct. And when is this going out?
Well, I would say ideally it would go out before
Friday.
Friday. I don't have the date in front of me of the next meeting. Is it
It's on Saturday morning.
Saturday morning? So ideally it'd go out Friday, but if it doesn't and we miss this informational session, I'd rather have you comfortable, Danielle, with the numbers and all that stuff. When you feel you're in good shape to do it, that's when we do it.
I can send it out Friday. That's fine. But time of day, what are you thinking for time of day? Are you going to do it 2 different times of day? Do you want to do it in the afternoon and then evening? Do you just want to do it in evening? What do you think? When would you prefer it to go out?
I have no opinion on that. I'm trying to think of the people we're trying to reach. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter because it would go to voicemail. Some people don't have that. Some people, when they don't recognize the number, won't answer the phone. If they're able to, they don't even have number recognition. So most of the people that we're trying to reach I don't think it matters when they get it. I would prefer that it not be at a dinner time.
Which is?
Not.
I don't know when dinner time is normal. I eat at every random time whenever I can fit it in my schedule. So
6
Yeah.
to 8, I guess, 6 to 8
6
p.m.
to 8, okay.
Yeah, I'd say 5 to 8.
Okay, so what time do you want it to go out? Not between 6 and 8 or between 6 and 8? I'm sorry.
Not between 5 and 8,
Not between 5 and 8.
right? In fact, why don't we say before 5?
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't want to do it at 9 o'clock. So
Yeah, before 5 o'clock.
4:45.
4:45. I can do 4:45.
all right. Do we need a vote on that, or I think we're all agreed?
Just I think the use of the 911 for this purpose, I don't know if we need a vote on that or not. If we're all in agreement, then it sounds like I don't think we need a vote. It's not that big a decision.
Okay.
What do you-
I'll agree.
Yeah,
I'll agree.
so those are the 2 items I had.
Hey, now, Neil, do you have any selectmen's matters to discuss?
One item. Last month, I got a call from a resident saying there was a man in her driveway knocking on her door, but she didn't want to open the door. What should she do? And I see this is a woman on View Drive, I believe. And I said, well, if you feel threatened, call the state police. Then she stayed on the phone, and he said, oh, he's going away. And he's in a black SUV. About a half hour later, I had a knock on my door. And it was a gentleman in an SUV, pleasant enough, asking if I was interested in solar power panels that he noticed could fit on my garage. I asked him if he had a permit from the town to solicit door to door, and he said he didn't know he needed one. I called Danielle later on, and she said that I believe, I'm just looking at my notes here, and Danielle can, that we do not have yes, Danielle. Oh, I lost it. But I'm wondering if we have a procedure
Can you still hear me?
we have a procedure for unsolicited salespeople that must first register with the town. And if we
Oh,
do,
I've been trying to see if you have what's called a hawker's peddler's license under Mass General Law.
yeah,
I have not noticed on my of the bylaws.
you're breaking up, Danielle. All right, well, it's just something I think we should look into if we do not have a permit. And it's something I think if we should have a permit procedure, and we should let townspeople know that we have such a procedure, so that if they do get an unsolicited solicitation, they can ask for the permit as a way of safeguarding that person is registered with the town.
It seems to me that we do have something in place. As I recall, maybe Roger can help me out with this, but I thought at one time we had an issue like this and we discussed it. And there is a permit procedure required in the town of Richmond, I do believe.
Yeah, it's vague to me, Al, but it does seem as though we acted on this 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe longer ago than that, when somebody was going around. They were trying to sell something. I can't remember what it was. But I think we do have, I think we do have a requirement for that. But that's something that we'd have to research. That's something Danielle can research.
Oh, is there any more selectmen's matters from either?
Not from me.
Neil?
No, that's it. Thank you.
I have something I was curious about, but maybe I'm skating on thin ice here. As you know, we have people from Lennox that live in Richmond. Essentially, their physical property is on Richmond, but they're miles away from any kind of roads, livable roads in Lennox. I was wondering, does Lennox help us out in any way on account of those residents? I was just curious about that.
Helping us in any way, what?
I think,
Not in any way. I mean, we are supplying the benefits for all the town residents in that general area, but because of some strange boundary line that zigzags down, we've collected a couple of people, maybe 3 homes, is it, that live in Lennox, but they live in Richmond physically.
well, East Road, there are at least one, Chris McGee, pays taxes in both towns. I have a recollection that we have a reciprocal arrangement with Lennox in that they plow Lennox Mountain Road, that section which is in Richmond. And I believe we service, if it's View Drive or Osceola Notch or Osseo, they're part of our roads are in Lennox, and we plow those.
Okay, just as long as it's equitable. I was just curious. I had forgotten what the heck the arrangement was. So I know we had something, but I wasn't sure of what it was. So as
Some
long as it's
residents pay,
equitable.
some residents pay taxes in both towns.
Wow, that's unusual. At any rate, I was just nosy about that.
On Osceola Notch, one side of the road is Lennox and the other side of the road is Richmond.
And we
Right.
plow that and they plow Lennox Mountain, is that right?
Correct.
So it's reciprocal and we're all happy with it. That's good. Okay, I have no other matters to discuss. Is there anything else on the agenda? Danielle, do you have a report from the town administrator or is that not on the agenda?
I don't have that. I'm working on getting you guys a bunch of updates on matters, but I've tried to put all items in the agenda as agenda items so that people understand when it's going to be spoken about so they can come.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there any other items on the agenda to look at here tonight?
Nope.
Not the agenda I'm looking at.
Okay, seeing none and hearing no comments, I'd like to move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that motion and note that we're finishing in under an hour, which is a new record.
Okay, move to adjourn.
Aye.
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 All right. Good night, everyone. Next meeting is February 10th. Make a note of that.
Just
Good
a
night, and be
reminder,
safe.
before, I'm not here tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
But I will be available on my cell.
Okay, thank you for that.
All
All
right.
right, good night, everyone.
Thank
It's gonna be
you.
a cold night, so stay warm.
Hey, Al, give me a call. I want to talk to you about the Basicum Lodge.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.